We don't know how many fans will be in the stands this year and which stadiums will be able to have fans. What we do know is that in the first 6 to 8 rows of all stadiums, the seats will be covered with tarps and advertising will be on those tarps. Because the bottom line is this: if fans are present, you want to have a buffer zone between the fans and the sidelines. You don't want somebody speaking so loudly or spitting or doing anything that would send potential droplets with virus down in the range of the player area. You don't want people throwing things that they've touched down that way. So that's the idea. That's what the NFL is doing, and they have indeed decided to do that. It's not really surprising, especially when you consider it's an opportunity to recapture revenue that's going to be lost if and when there is a reduction in the number of fans that can be present for the game. So it's not really a win-win, because the ultimate win is to have everybody in the stadiums like usual, but this is more like making a small batch of chicken salad out of a giant pile of chicken something else, Big Cat.
Those seats stink anyway, Mike. Also, I just wanted on the record, I want it to be noted in the Pro Football Talk history books that you rushed us to break after you quoted the unbelievable philosopher Alanis Morissette. So I just want to make sure that the record shows that. Okay, so these first 8 rows, have you sat in one of these?
But wait. Did that feel like rain on your wedding day? Is that the emotion you had?
Would it 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife? The first 8 rows stink in a football stadium. So it's actually almost a blessing. Like if they do allow fans, and there are the first 8 rows that are covered up, and I were someone that got pushed 8 rows back, I'd be thrilled. I'd be absolutely thrilled. If you ever sat front row in a football stadium, it's not watchable. It's not watchable. No. It really isn't. I'd rather be up at 300.
The first time I ever saw the Vikings play was at Three Rivers Stadium. And out in the parking lot, I did the upgrade from the tickets that I had to the front row. Hey, I got the front row. You get down in the front row, you can't see anything. All you see is the backs of the players. That's it. Now, you hear some interesting things, and the Vikings got manhandled that day, and we were right behind their bench, and I heard a lot of words that I already knew because I was in my 20s. But I tell you what, it was loud, and it was profane, and it was access you otherwise don't get, but you don't get to see the football game.
Front row for baseball and basketball, 300s for hockey and football. That's how it should always be. That's how you watch the game.
All right, well, those seats will be filled or at least covered this year, and it's still not known what the teams are collectively going to do. And Big Cat, something we talked about yesterday, I want to get your thoughts on this, because it occurred to me earlier this week. I was on The Score in Chicago with Dan Bernstein, and we were talking about this whole dynamic of no fans and what may happen outside the stadium. If there are places where they don't let fans in, but there isn't a stay-at-home order, you could have thousands of people congregating in the parking lot, treating it like any other game day, tailgating, watching the game on TV, having a communal experience, and nobody can get inside. And the NFL is anticipating that. And I think some teams are already plotting how they could make money off of that. You can supply the beer, and you can supply some food, and you can charge people to park there. And, if they say, no, we can't have this isn't safe, whatever perimeter they set up, on the other side of that perimeter, that's where everyone's going to congregate. So this really, this broader season of The Twilight Zone has plenty of episodes left. And one of them will consist of raucous, loud, drunken behavior in the parking lot outside of an empty stadium, and you throw on top of it the frustration that you can't get in, and there'll probably be a hell of a lot more violence outside than there ever would be inside.
I don't know. That seems like we're now getting really doomsday, like worrying about everything. Will people tailgate?
I don't know. What do you think they're going to do in Buffalo? Do you think they're going to stay away from the stadium in Buffalo if they can't get in? Do you think those fans are not going to show up?
No, but I don't. So I'm not going to add. I'm not going to add increased violence to the list.
No,
I don't know. I'm
talking about people out in the parking lot, watching the game out there, drinking all day long, drinking, and you throw on the frustration that they're not inside when they want to be inside. That's that extra match thrown into the pile of leaves. That's my point.
I'm not. I don't buy that as a real issue, and I also don't think drinking and drinking and drinking all day is any different than a regular NFL season. That's a reality of it that either you realize or you don't, and you're ignorant to the world, and you think that people have like 2 beers and they get in their car and they're fine.
Well, I think it's going to be a factor that they have to deal with, and other things that they have to deal with, and they're not disclosing anything yet. There was a conference call yesterday with several different people from the league, and look, they're talking about what they're going to do with rosters. I think that's a real issue, because it's one thing to have procedures in place to keep the players from getting or spreading the virus. It's another thing to have procedures in place to backfill your roster when you have an outbreak, if you have an outbreak. And expanding the practice squad from 12 to 16, which has been discussed, that's not going to be good enough if you lose 10, 15, 20 guys all of a sudden because they're all positive at the same time. What are you going to do to get players? They got to address a lot of things and a lot of issues. And, baseball's doing it because baseball's on the way back, and I think the NFL is going to study baseball and study what happens with the NBA and is studying what's happening with the Premier League in England. But there's a lot to do. They still intend, Big Cat, to start training camp July 28. That is 1 month and 2 days from now. 32 days away is the start of training camp. There's a lot to do and not a lot of time in which to get it done. And they haven't done a lot by way of letting people know what they're planning, which I think creates this sense of confusion and uncertainty among fans and media that they really do have a plan. Now, I think they do have a plan, and I think they're working hard. At some point, though, they have to share some of those details so the rest of us can say, okay, we feel a lot better about this than when we're kept completely in the dark.
To be honest, they're probably doing what all of us have been doing, and that is to just hope that as every day passes that something miracle happens and we have a vaccine or the virus just goes away. I mean, let's just be honest, Mike. That's what's been going through my head, and that's what's been going through a lot of people's head. So I wouldn't be shocked if the NFL has something similar going through their head where they're saying, look, we'll start planning stuff, but maybe also come July, come August, it will just be poof gone and we'll be good to go.
If that is anywhere in the range of plan A, B, C, D, E, or F, you better get ready to take Gus Duggerton to the NFL and play like 10 different seasons this year. And because that's not, to me, a viable solution. And I do believe that there is confidence they're going to get this worked out. I do believe they know a lot more than we do about how the virus operates. I believe, and Big Cat, you haven't been here since we talked about this, and I learned about it last Saturday. There is a strong belief among folks in the NFL that outdoor transmission is so much more difficult to accomplish than indoor in confined spaces. They believe that the bulk, and I think this is the prevailing thought now among the experts, although it's hard to get the straight story through the media because it's all over the place. The prevailing thought is that the predominant risk is confined space transmission. That all the kids that are getting it at Clemson and elsewhere, they're in the weight room most likely. That's how they're getting it, exhaling, and the droplets hang in the air, and other guys walk into that cloud with their eyes and their noses getting the virus. Outdoor transmission, big under a dome type situation where it can all dissipate. There's a strong belief that there will not be transmission in those settings. Now, if they're wrong, we won't have football. If they're right, they should be able to work it out.
Yeah. Well, I'm just hoping for football. I've given up on any rational thought because I don't have rational thoughts anymore, Mike. We've all gone crazy.
Have you ever?
Yeah, time to time. Time to time, I'll have a good thought that will pop in my head. Time to time.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.